Like he was like before we got to Kansas, he was saying in interviews that I do this, I do that, like that I drink Lyoto's, like Lyoto do the urinotherapy, so like he was playing with that, like so okay, it kind of like being picky with that, but so far so good. I didn't face him, so like I was okay, never mind. But once we face each other on the face off, came out really good footage for the
really good footage. Yeah. But yeah, because what happened was they get to the weigh-ins, and we already had a discussion with LFA like, hey, just a heads up, this could get turned into a little bit of an ugly weigh-in, and it was. They had to separate them, and the guy tried to get in his face, tried to start a little confrontation before the fight, and the guy also missed weight. This is the Savage Hour podcast. We take you inside the mind of fighters, athletes, and entrepreneurs. Don't miss an episode. Follow and subscribe. What's up, guys? Today I am here with Bruno Souza. He's one of my athletes. We just got done fighting at LFA 95 in Kansas, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about his fight. Not just the fight, but actually the mindset that he had to go into, because there was a lot of unique circumstances that went into this actual one. And so, welcome, Bruno. What's going on?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm feeling really happy to be here today.
Awesome. Well, stoked to have you on. For those of you who don't know Bruno's 8-1 as a professional mixed martial artist. He's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a karate world champion, and now he is the, from what I believe, the #1 contender for the LFA world title, at least amongst the top picks that they should be setting up for the next world title fight. And how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Like, still looking for the fight. Like keep watching that, of course. To find some mistakes, but also now I'm trying to enjoy everything that we did right, because like sometimes we are so hard with ourselves to just look to mistakes. Now I like to watch everything that we went good on the fight, and I still like finding some things, but that's good.
One of the things that we talk about a lot on this podcast is mindset and being able to overcome things when they change, and knowing that when things are no longer fun, that's when the real discovery comes in. And when we were getting ready for this fight, we had a whole nother opponent, right, that we were getting ready for. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we were getting ready for a karate guy that might have the takedowns game, but not jiu-jitsu strong. So we changed it for we of course, the guy pulled out from the fight. So ended up we fighting a jiu-jitsu guy that has a boxing as a background. The first one was southpaw, this one was orthodox, so we have like 15 days, I think, to set up a whole new thing. And that was really a challenge to keep the mind like on track, because we spent a couple of days training with our opponent, and we even didn't know that if we are fighting. So that's really hard to keep like, okay, let's keep training, like keep focus, keep dieting, keep cutting weight and everything, even though you don't even know if you're fighting anymore, And I'm really happy that my opponents accepted the fight on short notice, and we ended up fighting.
One of the things that people don't realize is that once you're training for an opponent, right, you actually get emotionally and physically attached to that goal and that date and that face that you're getting ready to go in there with. And when they pull out that close to the fight, it's really challenging, because you know this is a big fight. And actually, I mean, every fight's a big fight, but you're getting closer and closer. When they pull out, it's like, oh my God, number one, am I even gonna fight?
Yeah.
Number two, what do I have to change? And am I just taking a fight to take a fight? Now, one of the things that you mentioned, that your opponent backed out, but it wasn't like he just backed out. Like we heard he got injured, but then what ended up happening?
Yeah, like we know that he was injured. We were like arguing, like what happened? Like why he backed out from a fight like that we set up weeks before, right? So he ended up fighting on the Contender Series. He got signed with the UFC. Like I'm really happy, because like, if anyone pull out from a fight against me to get signed to UFC, I will be happy, because that's the goal. And in the end of the day, so okay, and as you said, we get attached to this face. You do the mentalization from the fight day. You see the guy, like whenever the guy pull out, you're like, oh, what I'm looking now, like you were kind of lost.
Yeah, it was one of those things, because I remember you were excited for that fight. It was something that he actually called you out for a while, and then we finally got the opportunity to fight him. And then when he backs out, it's like, man, I was so into that fight, and now I don't know what's going to happen. But that tells you the level of opponents that we're looking to fight also. The fact that he pulled out of your fight and then he gets signed to the UFC. So, I mean, that's the type of competition that we're looking for. And when we were looking at new opponents, we wanted to make sure that our new opponent fit that bill for what we were looking for, because we didn't want to just take a fight just to take a fight. Yeah. We want to make sure that this fight is not only a challenge, but it takes us to the next level, win or lose.
Exactly. Like, you got options. You remember, like, you got options of fighters with 4 fights. So, like, and I was like, what's the point? I'm not saying that the guy's a bad fighter, but, like, is the challenge is where you gonna put it. Like, a victory against this guy gonna put, like, you always say that you're gonna level up. If you beat this guy, the guy that before was 8-2 as prospect. So, like, if we beat this guy, are we up? Yes, we are. And if I beat a guy like 4-0, even though it's undefeated, but, like, it still need to build his record a little bit. Doesn't put that far, you know. Like, that's one thing that we always look before a fight, before accept a fight.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's one of those things that, yeah, okay, I beat a guy. So what? You know, a lot of us like to feed our ego. Mm-hmm. You know, we can have 100 wins under a record, but if we've never beaten anybody who's a real opponent, that has real experience, that brings a real threat, how many opponents have you really beaten?
Yeah.
And when you want to look back at your record and be like, look at who I've fought. I fought this guy, and these guys have these records who have beat X, Y, and Z names. And that's what you want, because that's what's going to propel you. That's going to give you the confidence that when you step in the ring against somebody that has the level of experience, that has the skill, that has the threat, that you know that you've done the work previously to get in there and fight that guy confidently.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I love about LFA. LFA definitely put us in the level of any card of the UFC. Like, the guys that we are fighting could be in the UFC. Like,
well, a lot of them get signed to the LFA and shortly after go straight to the UFC, just like your opponent.
Yeah, just like my opponent, and that's why that's really important to get the LFA belt, because, like, show us that, okay, because to get the LFA belt you have to go through a couple fights, you have to fight a couple guys, tough guys, you know, like, and that's the point. Like, we are not fighting just to say, posting on Instagram saying that, oh, I'm a fighter. No,
but some guys do.
Yeah, I know. We want the challenge. Like, that's why I wake up every morning like, okay, I want to train, I have to train, because I have someone that want to knock my head out, you know, like, I have to. That's the fighter that I look for.
You know, one of the things that is the interesting thing about fighting is that, you know, people have different approaches to it. You know, where the martial artists have an approach, the fighters have an approach, mm-hmm. and then you got to deal with the emotions that are attached to each, especially when something's standing across from you that has a certain approach as well. You know, like our opponent that we walked in this one, it was something that you hadn't faced before, right? You've never faced anybody that brought, I'm not talking skill set, mm-hmm. I'm talking that brought a certain danger factor to this, because and I'll just say it, like, his opponent is kind of a wild guy, brings a real big attitude, wants to fight even before the fight mm-hmm. starts. Tell us a little bit about that. What happened before we even got to Kansas?
Yeah, first of all, I have to get a shout out to Chet. Like, everything that he said come out right, you know, like, and he said, like, this guy gonna try to fight you every time that he face you, you know, like, even face off, wait in, every time you're gonna try to fight you. And that's what happened. Like, he was like, before we got to Kansas, he was saying in interviews that I do this, I do that, like, that I drink Lioto's, like, Lioto do the urinotherapy, so, like, he was playing with that, you know, like, so, okay, it kind of, like, being picky with that, but so far so good. I didn't face him, so, like, I was okay, never mind. But once we face each other on the face off, came out really good footage for the...
Really good footage, yeah. But yeah, because what happened was they get to the weigh-ins, and we already had a discussion with LFA, like, hey, just a heads up, this could get turned into a little bit of an ugly weigh-in. And it was. They had to separate him, and the guy tried to get in his face, tried to start a little confrontation before the fight, and the guy also missed weight. You know, that was something that we were able to dissect before we even got there. I told Bruno, I said, look, I can tell by the way this guy is that he's going to miss weight. And when he does, he's going to try to pin that on you and make that into another obstacle for you to get over. Like, hey, well, fight me or not.
That's a really good thing, like, because, like, you told me before, so that was not a surprise. That was not something that messed up with my mind, you know. Like, I was like, yeah, I was expecting him to miss weight because Chad already told me before. So, like, okay, this one deal. But the point of he being a trash talker, like, he being, like, on your face saying a lot of things, even though, like, I try to keep calm and this and that. Like, it's hard. It kind of like fire you up, you know, like. So that was the biggest challenge, because it's not only fighting a top guy. It's not only fighting a top prospect opponent. It's fighting a guy that is talking a lot of, like, he brings a new component to the table, you know, like, he brings something new that you have to deal, and you already have to deal with his fighting skill, and plus his trash talking. You know,
one of the things that we talk about a lot in the academy, and I talk about this a lot on the show, is that, you know, things are only fun until they're no longer fun.
Yep.
And now here's what's interesting about a guy that talks a lot of shit, is that when the fight starts already, it starts not fun.
Yeah.
Because you have somebody in front of you that's not being a martial artist. Where if I have the most technical guy in the world and we start this thing, it's already starting because we're trying to get a rhythm. But when you have a guy that's already mouthing to you before it's even starting, this whole event starts not fun. And fighting is a lot of fun until it's not. And you now have to face that battle before this thing even starts. You're dealing with these emotions, you're dealing with these thoughts, and you're dealing with the ways that you need to transition the way you react before this thing's even started.
Yeah, you said it perfect. Like, that was not fun anymore. Like, that was fun in the end.
In the end, right?
Beat him up, that was really fun. But like, whenever it started, that was not fun. You know, like, I was like in a different way than I usually am. Like, I was really trying to put myself together, because like, of course, he was saying Portuguese, but like, he was saying a lot of bad things during the call out, during the whenever the announcer was making a presentation for us. So like, you have to be like all the time. You have to face your opponent. You be like all the time, like, put yourself together, bring yourself together. You know, like, and you look and the guy's talking trash, and you have like, all the breathing. You know, like, so I kind of started slow the fight because I was trying to put everything together still, and the guy started like run from me, you know, like that's one thing that was really hard. I ended up going to the ground, then I getting like, that was not a knockdown, but looked like a knockdown, you know, like, got some pressure.
Well, there was something else that happened before that, right?
Yeah,
so like, so before any of this happened, the first exchange is the guy's chasing you down. The first thing he does, and he does what a dirty fighter does right off the bat. He needs you in the groin. I'm talking, what was that, like first minute of the fight, right?
Yeah, like
he needs you in the groin, and then he landed a couple big shots. Tell us about that.
That was exactly that. Like, he needed me in the groin. I felt that, but I couldn't see the referee, so I tried to protect myself. Whenever the referee realized he's coming to stop, I kind of protected myself, but he ended up like doing 2 shots clean on my face. And then I was like, okay, let me go down a little bit. I need to recover from the groin shot. The punches didn't work. And whenever I was recovering, the guy was saying like, oh, so you're gonna give up now? You're gonna give up now, and this and that. I was like, dude, I just need to recover for the shots. I'm coming back, don't worry. But like, it's still there. He was saying trash, and I was like, I was not saying anything, because like, it's not me, you know, like.
And that's really easy to allow. Okay, this guy's already being dirty, and now he's using his words. Now he's actually using dirty attacks, and this is everything that favors him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing about people that are very emotional, especially when it comes to fighting, is that they will stay emotional as long as you allow them to.
Yeah.
But once the emotions get out of it, now we know their truth. So what we had to do, like, and this is part of our game plan, was to get him out of his emotional point, and then let's see what he's really about. Let's see if you're truly about this game once you're no longer emotionally fired up. Let's see where you're at. And in the first round, he was really trying to take your head off. He was trying to prove to you everything that he was talking about. Mm-hmm. He was trying to prove to all of his fans and all his people that, you know, you were in the wrong place. And then you slowly started wearing him down in that first round. How did you do that?
Yeah, like, we started to shoot him down. Like, his strikes first. I think he thought like, I'm just a karate fighter. He thought like, once he was on top, he was passing my guard and doing whatever he wanted.
Because he was a jiu-jitsu black belt.
He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. So like, okay, we show him first that he's not like that. Then we first took this out. I could feel his frustration. He started to slow down. Like, he tried to pass my guard like 3 times, and I recover all the times. You know, and then we start to, okay, whenever he starts to slow down, we start to hit him from the bottom, even from the bottom. You know, like, couple elbows, couple heel strikes, you know, like, and every time you were saying, like, every time that you hit him, he's slowing down. He's like, he's frustrated, like, these kind of things. And I'm like, yep. And then he gave up. He was like, okay, I'm not staying on his guard. Like, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. His whole game plan is be on top of me, and he gave up. He's like, no, I'm striking with you. Like, I will stand up. And I'm like, okay.
Well, and that's one of those things that, once you take somebody's best weapon away,
Yeah.
I want to see how you're going to handle adversity at that point. Because that's really what it comes down to. Like when you're faced with adversity, how do you react? And that's where our truth is at. Like we talk about, it's no longer fun, or let's see how you do when it's no longer fun. That's your truth. Your truth is happening once you don't want to be there, and you got to make the decision to stay in there.
Yeah.
And so what he did was, you were hitting him in the body, you were hitting him with elbows, and he said, I don't want to be here, so that he stood up to an area that he didn't want to be.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden he's choosing to be somewhere he doesn't want to be, not because he's saying, oh, I'm mentally strong and I want to put it in a place where I don't want to be. No, he's doing that because he doesn't have any other options. And you ended that round letting him know that is where you wanted it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like we ended up like 15 seconds, but strong, already hitting him. Like I just want to say, like the fight it started not fun for me, and it started really fun for him. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great analysis.
And then we changed it during the fight, and then now the fight is fun for me. The second round, like he was done. Like in the break, you look at me and I was like, look at him. He's done. He don't want to stand up from the bench. Like he's done. I was like, yeah, now is my time, right?
One of our things through a tape analysis is that I like to look at habits.
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot about habits, and I like to see what people's tendencies are to do habitually. And one of the things we noticed with this guy, and this isn't going to be the case with everybody, but this guy, because he's such an emotional fighter, his first round is his round.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that he's going to come out hard. He's going to try to kill you for the first round. Then after that, he starts to fade because now he actually has to be methodical.
Yeah.
And he drives off emotion. So if we could beat him out of that part first, get him tired, now we could start seeing where he's really at. And he realized that he didn't want to be where he thought he wanted to be in the first round. And that's normally his round.
Yeah.
So then we started the second round in deep water.
Yep. And we drag him in really deep water.
Dragged him in deep water.
What I really liked that I did, and that was nothing that I thought that I would do. Like is once he was sitting on the bench, I stand up before the guy tell me to, and I start to jump in front of him. Like yeah, now you have to face me, and I'm fresh, and you're done. So he took like a while to stand up from the bench. After he did, he turned to the cage, he grabbed the cage, and he didn't even want to fight anymore. It was like, please don't give up right now. I was like,
I remember I was thinking that too, and I remember when I was seeing him, I was like, oh, don't you dare give up. Don't you dare give up. Like, don't take this satisfaction from us.
Please.
Because one of the things for you that you had in the past, that you've had areas where you just didn't know how to mentally stay strong enough to stay in the moment. You didn't say, okay, I'm just going to wilter away and tap out, but you still chose routes that were a little easier.
Yeah.
And that's nothing faulting on you. It's just that you didn't have the mental skills and tools yet. Because mental strength and acuity is, like I'm going to say, it's a callus.
Sure.
And it's only done from experiencing things over and over again. Then you realize, okay, I need to heal from this. I need to figure out a solution. But because you've been there so many times, that's what builds a callus.
That's perfect analogy. That's a callus. That's it. It's just like whenever you scratch, and your skin gets harder.
That's it.
Right there.
And so that's what we have to do with our mind, is you have to go through those trials and tribulations so you can have this new thick skin for what's ever happened. But it's up to you to make that choice in the moment.
Yeah.
Because whatever happened in your last fight that you've now made this quote unquote choice, okay, great, that was the last fight. You have to do it now. And then if something happens next moment, you have to do it then. And then the next moment after that, and after that, and after that, because it doesn't matter. Only thing that experience is good for is giving you the faith that you've been through it before, that you know how to overcome it.
That's exactly that. Because and that's one thing that we were talking after the fight, like, okay, that was great. Everything, like, not everything, but a lot of things work it. But in the next fight, we have to do everything again. Like, every choice you gotta take it right. Doesn't matter, like my last performers don't come with me. Okay, of course, I learned a lot that I'm gonna bring.
Yep.
But not the performance.
Yeah, that's
we
it.
gotta do everything again.
That's it. One of the things about even with this fight, we had a great second round.
Yeah.
But the first round, you were still playing into his emotions.
Exactly.
Where the second round, you came out confident because you knew he was a sitting duck, and you came out and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this on you now. But the first round, it was like you said, it was fun for him and it wasn't fun for you.
Exactly.
We need to be able to start that and still have fun while it's not being fun. Where it's like we don't have to run from the obstacle in front of us.
Exactly.
We'd have to stand there and face it. And that's one of the things I like to talk about all the time about, okay, it's okay to be afraid. It's not okay to turn away. Like, I would rather stand whatever's making me afraid and stare it in the eyes instead of turning away and wondering if it's going to kill me. You know, and that's what we need to take from this fight. Because what you did in the second round was there the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just that we waited for it to no longer be scary instead of standing up and being like, okay, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to fight you at your strongest.
That's one thing that I play, but I know that I have to, I do the joke, but I know that I have to work on that. Like, I do like, sounds like, feels like that I have to take the first punch and then I wake up and I'm on the fight. But sometimes the first punch can knock me down, can knock me out, and it can give me a lot of damage that I cannot have the fight anymore.
You know, there was a moment actually in the first round where you could see where you just decided to say, okay, I'm going to fight. And it wasn't on the feet, and it was when you were on the bottom getting hit. You decided, okay, I have control to make my own decisions. Because that's really what we need to realize is that you always do have control, even in a bad situation. You have a control, not what's happening like on the outside. You have a control of how you respond and how you react. And it doesn't matter if they're hitting you because I can't control what he's going to do, ever. I can't ever control what anybody's going to do. All I can ever do is respond the way I choose to respond.
Exactly. Like, that's one thing that you said before, like, it's okay to be afraid. And then, yeah, we are. Like, I don't know any fighter that's not scared of it.
And if they do, they're lying.
Yeah, they're lying. Or they are psychopaths.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, because
and then they have 5 minutes in the first round.
And they guess out.
Yeah.
But okay, like, we are scared. But, like, that's your choice that if you're this scared, you're going to freeze you. That kind of happened on the last fight. Or he's going to push you.
Yep, that's
that happened also on the last fight. That was fun. Like, I had 2 point of view on the same thing. I kind of got freeze first, and then I was like, nope, let me change. Let me at least try to fight. You know, like,
that's it, right? You have to make yourself do it.
Yep.
You know, because even in the second round, when you know we're going to talk about this a little bit. You know, you started hitting him, you were touching him, and then you were still feinting. You were trying to score the perfect opportunity, and you didn't have to do all that. Like, you're feinting because you're so used to making these reactions happen, but you didn't need to do the extra.
Yeah.
All you had to do was keep hitting him.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
No, that was fun because, like, okay, that's my game. I do 1-2 move. I do fakes because I want to pull out something. You know, like, I want the guy throw. I want to, like, take away his strong punch. You know, I don't want to be on the pocket, exchange it, and get the risk to get caught. But you saw it before me. And then when I realized, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. You were screaming all the time, like, just touch him. Like, don't fake anymore. You don't need it. Just keep touching him. And I was like, can I? Serious, can I just touch him? And then when I realized, yeah, I can't just touch him. That's easy like that. That's when the fight is over.
And I mean, realistically, that's what it happens in those moments, right? Sometimes anything that we put our mind to is a lot easier once we just do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because we make things harder on ourselves by overanalyzing and overthinking. And sometimes the simplest answer really is just do it. And then you're going to realize, oh my God, like, how is this so easy? It's easy because you're just doing it.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about what if, why not, anything else in between, you're just doing it. And that's what led to the finishing, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was perfect. Because, like, once I start just touching and stop the fakes, like, I ended up knocking him out his mouthpiece, and I thought, like, okay, the referee not gonna let him get too much damage without the mouthpiece, so he gonna stop the fight. And I just speed up. They did a couple of course, I did a good elbow that split up his face.
That was a big cut.
Yeah, that was
a big
beautiful.
cut.
No, my face, that was beautiful. So, and then the referee stopped the fight. You know, like, whenever we just touch.
Now, victory is great. Where that takes us is great. What do you think training for this fight and then this fight, the way it played out, did for you mentally?
Now, mentally, that was experience that even before the fight, I was like, okay, that's gonna be an interesting experience. We need to lose a draw. That's someone that I never faced before. This guy gonna bring me to a new place that I never been. You know, because fight someone that do a clean fight, it's I don't want to say easy, but it's easier. You know, the guy just like, let's fight. So okay, you're gonna bring your technique for the table. I'm gonna bring my technique for the table, and that's it. we don't have too much this mind game. But once you have the guy trying to go into your head, into your thoughts, that goes. You know, I can tell now. Even though you say like, no, I'm focused on this and that, it kind of bother you. So like, learn with this. That's an outside monster, let's say like that. So that's an outside monster trying to come to your brain. So now whenever I'm gonna fight a guy that's just gonna bring the technique to the table, I already know how to fight my monsters, and it's a lot easier to keep focus. And even though I fight a guy that gonna bring the trash talking, like, it's not something new anymore. I already know what I did in the build up for the fight that I am not doing again. You know, because I'm not engaging on this thing. As I said, the video of the call out from the fight, that was good, that was beautiful, but I'm not doing that anymore. You know, because whenever you fit the other guy with that's what he want. He want you to interact.
Yep, that's
with the trash talking.
They feed off of it.
Exactly. So I did that. That was fun. That was nice. There was nice. That was nice opportunity to do that. But I don't know if I'm doing it again.
Right.
You know, because I rather me being with myself, and that's something that I never thought. I can say now that I was like, okay, I have Lyoto Shinzo. You know, like these guys, they are so samurai, and I used to say I'm not a samurai. I will go for if the guy comes, and now I'm like, yeah, I might be on my own. You know, like just okay. You want to say whatever you want, yes. If you try to fight me, I will just protect myself, but I'm not gonna feed you anymore. You know.
You know, and that's the thing, right? Like, you know, here's the funny. We make this joke that whether they're trash talking or not,
mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they're not gonna hurt you any more than they're already trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of those things like, oh, like I'm really gonna beat his ass now. Like, wait a minute, hold on. Time out. So before there was trash talking, you were only gonna kind of beat their ass. Like this, like when your career's on the line, there's money on the line, pride on the line. When this guy's trying to hurt you, you're not really gonna beat his ass. But because there was some shit talking, you're really gonna beat his ass
like,
now.
Now he's gonna get serious. Like no.
No, and so like whether they bring that out or not, the end of the day, it's a fight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if they trash talk, don't trash talk, whatever it is, it's still a fight.
Yeah.
So how you allow yourself to engage or disengage is up to you. So like sometimes, you know, if you engage, like you said, at the weigh-ins and you're like, man, maybe moving forward, I'm gonna bring on that samurai spirit and just be reserved and be in my own head, or you feed into it. Like it's really your choice. Yeah. Now, however you react, that you still have the next day which is the actual fight, and you have to react again.
Yep.
You got to be able to do those things again. And then when the fight starts, it starts again. When the first adversity happens, it's again. When the first punch happens, it's again. You know, and these things they continuously keep having to be rechecked and checked back in.
Yep.
Every single time that there's any type of an interaction between you and your opponent, or even you and you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I saw a lot in this fight, is that you were making decisions that were beneficial for you to the next moment
mm-hmm.
in the fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I see. You know, like, and I want to say that the guy kind of helped me the way that he got frustrated, because like, okay, I fought my monsters, I fought the way that like right here, but he didn't. He wanted to give up.
Yep.
His choice was give up. He was the one that he beat himself before me.
That's it.
I just did the pleasure.
And the funniest thing about that, he was trying to project that on you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, when he needs you in the groin, he's like, oh, you ready to give up? In his mind, he wanted you to give up so he didn't have to keep fighting.
Exactly.
That's an interesting thing, right? Because that's really what it was. He wanted to use that as his, like, oh, he didn't want to fight me. But at the end of the day, he didn't want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people act like that.
You said before the fight. It was like, yeah, the trash talker, usually he don't want to fight. It's just like the bully. The bully doesn't want to fight. The bully want to beat you up. He don't want to fight. If you start to fight him and try him with something, he gonna back up. That's exactly what it is.
And the bully might have a little bit of fight in him.
Yep, of course.
Until it's not fun.
Of course, like you're gonna get him a punch in the second, but once it starts to be equal, he will not be there anymore. You know.
That's exactly it. So this fight happened. you've gotten a lot of great press from it, a lot of growth from it. Where does this take you moving forward as far as what your mindset is moving into not only your next fight, but the fights to come?
Every training camp help you to build something, not only for technique, it's something that you're going to bring to your life. You know, like the things that happen with me on the fight can happen with anybody on the traffic, for example.
Yeah.
You know, like a guy saying trash talk with you, and you kind of like car crash or something like that, and you fight back, and then ended up, you know, like, but that's the street. It's dangerous. Right there, I have a referee. They're gonna stop the fight whenever it's dangerous. So it's something that you can bring to your life, you know, and that's what I love about fighting. It's not only a sport. It's not only something for the pro career. It's something for the life. Everything that you learn here. That's what I said. We are martial artists. We are not fighters. Only fighters. You know, like I respect the fighters. It's another way to approach the game. But the way that we approach is being a martial artist. It's like it's deep. It's like lifestyle, you know, and that's it.
That's one of the things we talk about all the time is that, you know, fighting and being a martial artist is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's the way you approach everything. And that way, no matter what your goals are, you're able to structure them the same way, almost like a fight camp.
Yep.
Right? You've got a problem that needs to be solved, and you need to outline the ways for you to get there. And the reason why it's a problem is because you don't know how to solve it yet.
Yep.
And it's going to take trials and tribulations to get there. And what we do with a fight camp is we know we have a date, and that's the date we have to solve that problem.
Yep.
So we have to do everything we can en route to it, and hopefully we've done enough to solve the problem that night. Because that problem is going to be different than the next problem.
Yep.
And that's like everything else. Like sometimes it's I need to pay some bills, or I want to go on this trip, or I want to do this. It's all problem solving. That's where life comes in.
Yep.
And that's where fighting is the same thing as life. It's all problem solving, except for ours are literally the problems trying to punch you in the mouth and trying to break your arm and things like that. But it really is. It translates so well to that. And as long as you're able to realize that a fight is not about beating the opponent.
Yep.
It's about really developing yourself, how you structure your day and everything you do to solve that problem. Everything needs to be about that problem solving.
Exactly. Like I like to say that, like, be a fighter, be a pro fighter or pro athlete. It's just like any other thing in life. Like, it's just like be a doctor. It's just like, but the problem is, whenever I made a mistake, a bunch of people gonna see it. Sometimes whenever a lawyer make a mistake, just like his client gonna see it. So like, it's the only difference. But we make the same mistakes. Like sometimes, like, yeah, we train it wrong. Let's say that. Like we thought the guy was doing something, and he changed his game plan, and he brings something new to the table, and he beat us.
All the time.
So like, yeah, we made a mistake. So now let's build up. Let's go for the scratch again, and let's try to go for the next.
That's it.
That's it in life. Like you don't wanna be a doctor. Of course, you have lives on the game. And I know it's kind of cold to say that, but like, okay, your patient unfortunately passed away, but you don't want to stuck on that. You have to keep moving your life forward, you know. So that's the same thing.
And sometimes, because something like that happens, it's actually going to save a lot more lives, because they were going to learn from it. Absolutely. And that's the same thing. That's what we have to do. We can't dwell on the mistakes. We have to be able to take the strength of ourself and learn from the mistake. Mm-hmm. That way, so we can turn that into a positive. There should never be anything that holds us back, and we're like, oh my God, this keeps happening. Well, we have to find out why it's happening. What is it that you were doing that's the same cycle of habit that's creating that result? I
like to say that the best thing that happened in my career was losing the first fight, because I was coming with the hype from being a world champion in karate, so from being a Machida boy. So that gave me a reality shock. You know, like, yep, you want to do that, it's a little deeper. And I was like, I actually like that. And I was like, okay, let me try again. And I fixed a couple things and ended up winning the fight, not the way that I like it. And I keep trying. Like, every fight we made mistakes. Every fight.
Every fight.
The thing is, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
You know, like...
and you're going to make mistakes in the fight.
Yep. Yep. So you're gonna ignore the mistakes and just be on the point that, oh, I won the fight. That's what matters. Nope. You know, because sometimes you're gonna lose. And lose is not the problem. It's what make you lose. You know, like it's the whole thing around it. The result's not a problem. You can end up like doing everything perfect and get a really good right hand on the chain and get knocked out. You know, like that happens. But it's okay. We won the fight. That's what you said. But what do you do with the mistakes that I made on the fight? We're gonna ignore that, or we're gonna bring it to the table and okay, gonna work on that. Because
you know, it's funny you say that. Sorry. You know, a lot of the guys always bring this up that I'm one of these. I'm not. I have this weird philosophy when I coach. I will, if you know, we had a good performance, whatever it is, I'll talk about the things that we need to fix right in the cage.
Yeah.
You know, I really don't wait because it's on the tip of my tongue and I want to address it right now. Great, we won. But I need to address it right then when the emotions are fresh.
The fight before this one, we ended up winning by split decision. And before the results, we were already talking about what we did wrong, like what we could do better. And then we ended up winning the fight. That was great. And you were already watching the fight again. So like, yo, you did this here, you did this, that. It's work for me because I'm like that. You know, like I like to, okay, we need to taste the victory, we need to celebrate, but don't stop there.
No, it's the process.
Yeah.
You know, we have to analyze the process. And for me, when I see a lot of process that needs immediate attention, I have to address it right then. Because it doesn't do us any good to be like, oh yeah, we won split decision. Like, okay, great, good. I'm glad that worked out in our favor. But we need to talk about X, Y, and Z now.
Yeah, for example, I made I'm watching the tape now. I know that it was a stupid mistake. Like the way that I got caught with the right hand is because I did something that the guy wanted to do, and we worked in that. It was like you cannot kick his legs because he's gonna catch your leg and punch you. But I was in motion, and he kicked my leg, and I tried to answer right away. And I'm like, dude, like me myself right now, I'll say like, are you stupid? It's obvious that he's gonna catch you. So like these things that it's nice to work to like, okay, why I did that. It's not, that's what he said. It's not only that mistake, it's the process. So like why I kick it right there, it's because I was in motion, because I got hit with the leg and I tried to answer right away. That's why I got caught. It's not only the kick, you know, it's because the way that I was.
This might be a tough question to answer, but I'll throw it out there anyways. You know, for people that are watching or listening, if they are somebody that struggles with the willingness to put themselves in the uncomfortable situations, what's some advice that you can give them on why they need to do it?
Like, okay, I gotta bring back the one thing that I said. Like the best thing that happened in my career was my first loss. There is nothing that teach you more than a mistake. My first fight in LFA, it's a fight that I still trying to, till nowadays, I have problems to watch that. Because I know so much things that I did wrong with it. But that was super necessary for me to learn. Like, I'm telling you, I don't like to watch the fight. But I know that be on that position make me grow so much. I ended up like winning by DQ because the guy beat my neck up, but I was getting beat up the whole fight. But the whole process was wrong. I was here in US for a couple months. I was not even training in a.
Because you're from Brazil, right?
I'm from Brazil. I'm not training in any team, you know. So I ended up like getting a couple of friends that they gave the best that they could. But that was not enough to fight a guy like that. I wake up was wrong. I was sick in the day. Everything went wrong. And I came out like doing a cheat a presentation, a cheat sheet performance. But nowadays we are talking about like a victory with the mindset. It's because I put myself on that position and I got beat up. That now I know that I can turn. I can do that. You know, so like whenever you need to, like in life, you have a lot of times you have to do a hard choice, you know, and put yourself in a bad position, and you're gonna come out on the one thing that you said. Just do it. I never told you about that. Before the fight, we are 10 minutes to. I have my gear already. 10 minutes to walk out. and I kind of, like, we study a lot the mindset, and I kind of know myself. I knew that I was not in the right spot yet. You know, I ended up being in the right spot during the fight, but before the fight, I was not in the right spot yet. So I was like, okay, I'll talk with myself. Like, what worse can happen? Lose a fight? Like, that's not bad. Already happened with me before. Happened with, like, I was with you, Glover Teixeira was in the locker room. I was like, already happened with Glover. Already happened with Chad. Already happened with Lyoto. I'm like, lose is not bad. So, what are you gonna do now? Let's go out and fight. You know, so I start to put myself together right there, and in the fight, I got it. You know, like, I was losing the fight, and I was like, yeah, it's not that bad. Let's try to win now.
You know, that's great. You know, like, the thing is, the problem is a lot of people still, in my opinion, you know, that, yeah, they make mistakes, but they also need to change their surroundings sometimes of why they keep making the same mistakes. You know, a lot of people still like to make excuses for why the mistakes happen, accepting the ownership, right? You made the mistake, and it's what you did leading up to it made the mistake. Whether it's you're getting in trouble or whatever it is, you know, it's not necessarily the mistake in training or mistake in fight or because you got caught doing something you shouldn't have in life. It's that the mistake happened way before then.
Yeah.
The mistake actually happens what you lead up to it. So what you need to do is learn from the mistake, from it happening, yes. And then it's what you do leading up to that and letting that be the habit that allows you to start moving forward. And I think that's one of the best things that we focus a lot on is habit building. You know, we talk about the mind literally every single day, unless I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. That's it.
You know, I want to make sure that, you know, it's just as much for me as it is for you guys. You know, like when we talk about the mind, yes, I want you guys to perform at a certain level mentally, but that's also like I need to be on top of it in the daily study for myself too.
Yeah.
Because if I am not on it every day, I start slipping off also, and it's easy to fall back and go into your old habits.
No, it's the make a mistake is the easy choice. Like, it's the easiest thing to do. Like, we were talking about diet. Like, okay, you were in a diet, you're in the process of cut weight, and now you are doing right now. Like, we were together in Kansas. I was like, why don't you eat that? Why don't you go like, nope. But like, the easiest thing is say like, yeah, it's not a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. I'll eat a cookie. I'll eat a no. Like, it's your choice, you know. And one thing that you always do, and of course for this fight too, like, it's like, it's a choice. Be here is a choice, you know, like. And I always like to give example to real life. Like, you be an engineer, it's your choice. And if you're not happy with that, the problem is your choice. So you have to change it, you know. But it is a choice. You're not doing nothing because you're obligated to. You know,
and people like to use that as an excuse too. Oh, well, you don't understand this, or it's not so. I'm like, okay, great, but it's still your choice.
Yeah. Like, before this fight, I didn't have a KO, LT KO, and I could give you a lot of excuses. Oh, because one fighter broke my leg. Oh, another fighter broke my hand. Oh, this fighter was recovering from the surgery that I did. But it's still excuses. You know, like, that's on me. Like, yep. Whenever you put everything together, you know that you can do it. That's the same thing to your life.
Yeah, I mean, excuses and success are all part of it. And, you know, luckily this night, it worked out for us.
Yeah.
So awesome. Bruno, you're big on social media. You do some awesome videos. You do a lot of funny stuff. How can people find you?
It's Bruno Souza MMA on Instagram. That's the easiest one. That's the biggest one too. All the videos are there. I hope you like. We do a lot of nice stuff.
Anything you'd like to say to anybody listening, just coming from you? Anybody listening or watching as advice or tips or anything you just like to leave with?
Yeah, if you want to do something, don't lay down like that. We always talk about it. There's no perfect timing to do something. You know, like you want to do a travel, and you want to do a certain amount of money to start now. You know, like, start now to do what you want. Like, nobody gonna do for you what you can. Like, you can have people that helps you, like Chad George. He helps me so much. Like, but he's not gonna push me out from the bed and bring me to to the gym and make me train no, it's me, like, and he's not doing what I can do for me. So do for you. Start to lay off on the others, like, oh, because my boss doesn't rate my monthly payment, like no, like, just do for you, and then the other things come out. You're gonna end up like, whenever you start to do for yourself the things, other people are gonna look at you and say, oh, this guy, and then you're gonna raise your salary because you're doing for you. Because like we see a lot on everyday jobs, the guy's like, oh, I got a sheet payment, so I do a sheet work. So okay, you're gonna still get a sheet payment, or you can get a sheet payment, do a great work. One day it's gonna happen, or you're gonna change your job, or like the surround of you, they're gonna change because you did. So like that's the thing.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bruno, for coming on. I'm excited for everything that we're doing in the future. We're just getting started, and yeah, thanks for being here. Savage Hour Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, leave some comments, leave some feedback, and remember, being champion is a choice. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this episode, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends, and follow us across the social media platforms. Remember, live life as a champion.